Howdy y'all, I'm Wayne, I'm from Dallas, Texas, and I live close to this red thing. I don't know what that is, but it's red. I react to all things UK. I'm trying to learn about your culture, I'm trying to learn about your history, trying to learn about your food and your cities and your places to visit. I'm just getting started here, so I'd love any one of you to please like and subscribe if you get a chance. Now, I'm reacting to this video. It was a suggestion. These are 20 British accents in one video, so that I can learn. I'll not probably learn much, but I'm going to listen to them and see what it is. So I know that your accents vary deeply by region. It's the same in the US. We have accents, rich and varied all over the country. My accent is kind of southern. I've also lived all around the United States, even though I was raised in Texas. And so mine varies from, the different regions where I've lived. I also know that like accents, even in Texas, they vary. So there's a city accent, there's a country accent. I grew up in the country of Texas, in small towns where they talk a lot different than where I live now in Dallas. So I'm sure that's also true of you, to say like, even in just one city like London, there's probably accents on one side of town, accents outside of London. I'm sure they change. I mean, the United States is huge and has a gazillion accents, and I imagine England, even though it's still small, also has quite a few accents. I know a lot of our accents are heavily influenced by Irish heritage. So those are like the Blue Ridge Mountains, the Appalachians. Some of the accents that might be hard to understand for you are actually came about from Irish immigrants that moved into those areas and influenced the English language, and then it came up with this kind of weird, strange, hard to understand accent in certain regions. And I think that's true of even like the New York accent, which sounds a lot different from the Appalachian accent, both heavily Irish influenced. So it's interesting to see. I love accents. I'd like to get into this video. It's called 20 British Accents in One Video. It's by Eat, Sleep, Dream English, and I'll leave a link in the video description. But let's get going and see what this is about.
United Kingdom in 20 different accents.
You watch Question Time, it's comedy.
Do you want a wee bag with that?
It's hard to beat the Northern.
This is so rude.
At the Golden Globes, I met Jennifer Aniston.
I love you.
I'm the best MC in the country.
No, they're not. They are. I bet you any money they are.
I'm a massive fan of the dictionary.
They're quite important things.
I'm going to match each accent with a famous person,
Dictionary.
show you a clip of them speaking, and then I'll teach you one pronunciation feature of that accent so that you can identify it more easily. Important thing to note as we go on this tour is that accents are very fluid. We use umbrella terms like a northern accent or a southern accent, but what we're really doing is grouping a bunch of accents together because they share similar pronunciation features. Indeed, accents don't just change from city to city or from town to town, they can change from person to person. So an approach that many linguistic experts take is to instead talk about there being an accent continuum, where as you move through the country, accents change and evolve and join at the edges. Now, I've picked out 20 British English accents that I want to look at, but as I say, there are many, many more.
I bet there's a lot more than 20.
Received pronunciation, or RP as it's also known. It's an accent associated with education and privilege. Now, it doesn't have a set geographical location, but it is associated with London and the southeast of England.
Accent.
But as a result, you can be an RP speaker from anywhere in the UK. It was once the only accent you would hear on the BBC, and even to this day, British English dictionaries use it as their default setting. Now, I've broken it down to 3 separate varieties. Now, let's start with the Queen's English.
It's an accent I've heard.
Yeah, Her Majesty the Queen and other royalty.
You can't look down to read the speech, you have to take the speech up.
because if you did, your neck would break, or it'd fall off.
An emphasis is put on clarity with every sound
She was
being
very popular
articulated
here.
in its fullest form. No drop T's here, Mum. There's a tightness in the jaw. The Queen's lips are quite close together, and the vowel sounds are articulated at the front of the mouth. One pronunciation feature that we find in the Queen's English is the use of the or sound instead of o. So the Queen says off, not off. Take your filthy shoes off. This is not an accent you'll hear far beyond the walls of Buckingham Palace, but if you're curious to hear more, then you can watch the
Just learn more by
series.
watching The Crown.
We move on to conservative RP, which is similar to the Queen's English, but perhaps not quite as rigid and formal. Now, it's traditionally been an accent associated with positions of power. So if I think back to all the prime ministers of my time, they all have conservative RP.
Brexit help farmers in lots of ways. We'll be able to cut bureaucracy, find new markets for UK produce, lamb, beef, dairy produce, cheese overseas.
Now, one feature that divides RP and Southern accents from Northern English accents is the sound. In RP, you have and whereas in the north of England, it's just So Boris Johnson says cut, but in the north of England, that would be cooked. There's also a more modern version of RP called contemporary RP. Speakers still place a high value on articulating sounds clearly, but there is an acceptance that speed of communication is more important than accuracy. So in contemporary RP, you might drop a T or you might use a contraction, whereas in conservative RP or the Queen's English, that's less likely to happen.
Some people are quite surprised about, oh my God, we actually thought you were a robot. Right. No, I'm human.
One surprising feature is the use of the H sound. Now, in most British English accents, actually, it's not used, but in RP it is used, and you hear Gemma Chan there saying human, not human, as it might be in other British English.
Peas? Sure. Ooh, let me have some of that Cool Whip. What'd you say? You can't have a pie without Cool Whip. Cool Whip? Cool Whip, yeah. You mean Cool Whip? Yeah, Cool Whip. Cool Whip. Cool Whip. Cool Whip. Cool Whip. You're saying it weird. Why are you putting so much emphasis on the H? What are you talking about? I'm just saying it. Cool Whip. You put Cool Whip on pie. Pie tastes better with Cool Whip. Say whip. Whip. Now say Cool Whip. Cool Whip. Cool Whip. Cool Whip. Cool Whip. Cool Whip. You're eating hair!
Accent. You'll notice that her jaw isn't as rigid as the other two RP speakers. Her mouth is slightly more open and the vowels are a little bit wider, and she articulates her vowels a little bit further back in the mouth. Other speakers of contemporary RP include Emma Watson, Daniel Radcliffe and Ed Sheeran. Right, let's have a look at the accents of London. Now, as I've already said, you will find received pronunciation in London and the southeast of England. You'll also find Cockney, the traditional working class accent of London. Originally, it was found in the East End of London, but now you will hear it throughout London. And as people have moved out of the city, you'll find it in surrounding counties like Hertfordshire, Essex and Kent.
You watch Question Time, it's comedy.
Were you no clearer
Doesn't
when Jeremy Corbyn...
Adele have that?
No one knows what it is. It's
Accent?
like this mad riddle that no one knows what it is, right? So what's happened to that David Cameron who called it on? Let's be fair.
I think you're referring to our former Prime Minister.
Yeah, but how comes he can scuttle off? He called all this on.
So that gets harder to understand. I hear some vowels being dropped.
The classic one that probably you know already is the glottal T. So that's when you turn water into water or daughter into daughter. Now, Danny Dyer uses another feature that I find really interesting. He uses the vocalization of the dark L. So with the word called, we're using a dark L, ul, but he vocalizes it so it becomes a called. He also says riddle, right? Not riddle. To me, it's like almost like a w sound. So tall becomes tool, ball becomes bull. Now you'll also notice that the vowel sounds are articulated with a wider mouth, right? So it's bull, tool, right? It's like that. Okay, so wider vowel sounds. Now, if you want to dive deeper with the Cockney accent, then I suggest you throw Danny Dyer's name into YouTube, check out any clips with him speaking, or you can check out the long-running British soap EastEnders. Next, we're going to look at Multicultural London English, or MLE, as it's also known. Personally, I find this the most fascinating, but it doesn't get as much attention as other accents. Now that could be because it's quite a new accent. It's sort of evolved in the last 30 to 40 years. As the name suggests, this accent reflects modern day multicultural London. It's spoken by London's young multi-ethnic citizens. It draws its influences from Cockney and also from the large immigrant groups in the city like the Caribbean community and the South Asian community. You put all those influences in one beautiful melting pot and you get MLE.
Like, as a rapper and an MC, you always kind of get the side of like, yeah, like I'm the best MC in the country and all of that. And then, but a lot of the time you don't like. It is very heavy. Like the duty that I sometimes feel like I carry can feel overwhelming.
The one feature that we heard there from Stormzy is the D sound instead of
I don't know who that
the.
was.
So he says that, not that. Other speakers of MLE include Raheem Sterling, the England football player, and Akala. And if you want to watch a TV series with Multicultural London English, then I recommend Top Boy on Netflix. And of course, if you want to go deeper with this accent, there's a whole section in my book dedicated to Multicultural London English. Let's quickly skip east to the county of Essex, where the accent is quite similar to Cockney.
I've heard
due
this.
to the large number of people that moved from the East End out to Essex after the war. Now the two accents share many pronunciation features, including those wide vowel sounds, but Essex speakers tend to close off the ending.
For them to write that about us Essex girls, we are not happy.
No.
So keep us in the dictionary, but please change the meaning. And I think it should say an Essex girl is smart, sassy, fun, and striving hard in life like everyone else.
You can hear Gemma Collins there using that vocalised dark L on girls, and also that glottal T on about. If you want to hear any more of the Essex accent, there is only one place to go. The TV series, The Only Way is Essex. East. Over in the west, we have the beautiful counties of Somerset, Dorset, Devon and Cornwall, all with their own subtly different accents. One famous exponent of the West Country accent is Hagrid from Harry Potter.
The owl that delivered my release papers got all lost and confused. Some ruddy bird called Errol.
Was it bad? I've never seen this.
One unique feature that you will hear with this accent is that rhotic R. Now, in most British English accents, it's non-rhotic, so we don't use that R, but in the West Country, that R is pronounced, so car and far. This pattern is mirrored in the city of Bristol, where R's are also articulated.
Oh, I'm such an Aquarian, I can never let things go. So we'll talk, and then I'll say, remember when you did this, this, and this, and this, and back in 1985 you did this.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Is that why you're single now?
Probably.
You just broke up again recently, didn't you?
No, we ran off with another bird, and then, yeah, I got dumped again.
Did you hear how she said bird there? It was bird, bird. I would say bird, so the sound, but she pronounced that R, bird. To hear more of the Bristolian accent, I really recommend checking out Gogglebox, and in particular, Mary and Marina, some fantastic characters. Moving into the middle of the country, we've got Britain's second largest city.
Is that a term for a woman, a bird?
The accent is Brummy. Now, it's known for its nasal quality due to the heavy industry that used to be there, and also its sing-songy intonation.
It's so funny, but the last time I saw you was really in 2002, and you were the first person to interview me.
Coming out of the house.
We couldn't find that clip, but don't worry. I've found an amazing clip of something I'm going to show you a little bit later. Shall I show it you now?
The way Alison Hammond says last there is a great indication that we are moving further north through the country, because these A and R sounds divide the country. So in the south of England, you would have R, it would be last, but in the north of England, it's last. And because Birmingham is in the middle, it actually goes with the northern pronunciation, so it would be last. So in Birmingham, you would hear last, Bath, and chance.
Can you tell each other by your accents?
Footballer Jack Grealish and comedian Lenny Henry.
I'm guessing you
As we
can.
edge further north, we get to the East Midlands cities of Derby, Leicester, and Nottingham. And because of their geographical location, these accents sit somewhere between the Midlands and the North.
Let's just get some young players in here who actually love playing for Arsenal, who actually love the shirt, love the badge, and are actually prepared to die for it almost by going out there and, as you said, Mike, are putting in tackles and, like, you know, just showing that they you know, that they care.
One feature that I found in Jermaine Genesis' accent is the diphthong air. So he says, he kind of elongates it and he sort of widens the mouth a little bit. So it's kind of air. So it's there. Okay, that's a bad impression. Let's get Jermaine to do it again.
And are actually prepared to die for it almost by going out there.
As we move into Yorkshire, we encounter accents that are characterised by the squashing and omitting of certain words and sounds. So I'm going to the shop would be I'm going to shop. Let's start with South Yorkshire and Louis Tomlinson.
Northerners probably are better than Southerners. Southerners are great people, but it's hard to beat the Northerner.
If you've seen Eat Sleep Dream English before, you know that I love Louis Tomlinson's accent. It's so rich with different pronunciation features. One that I want to pick out is the way that he uses the on the th, the sound. So instead of northerner, it's northerner. Instead of southerner, it's southerner.
Northerners probably are better than Southerners. Southerners are great people, but it's hard to beat the Northerner.
As we move to West Yorkshire, we've got Zayn Malik from Bradford, and he elongates the diphthong A. So he says stay and wear and pay, rather than stay, weigh and pay.
So he loved like dressing up in suits and like wearing like specific tie done a certain way.
Then if we move to East Yorkshire, we've got Jenny and Lee from Gogglebox.
National Health Service can't get the masks, so how are we going to get them?
I've made one.
What out of?
Hey, it's really clever. And you don't need no sewing, no nothing. It's like...
These two are the hardest to understand so far.
Oh, you can make me one then.
I'll show you.
So here you can hear the elongation of another diphthong, O. It becomes no and sure. Very typical of a Yorkshire accent. You'll also notice that that sound is articulated at the front of the mouth. So no and go. If you want to dive deeper with the Yorkshire accent, then of course Gogglebox, Jenny and Lee is fantastic. There are also two sisters from Leeds who have a fantastic accent. Of course, Game of Thrones is a fantastic place to hear the Yorkshire accent as well. If we hop
Love
up to
Sean
Midlands,
Bean
we find two
and
huge
Kareem,
cities, Manchester and Liverpool. Now, despite being only 30 miles apart, their accents are very, very different. Mancunian tends to be quite nasal and borrows lots of pronunciation features from other Northern English accents.
You know, it's the first game, and I think the concentration and intensity that we showed today, we have to take forward into the next games also in the Premier League.
Here we hear Marcus Rashford using one of the most
He's easy to understand.
Mancunian sounds, and that's the I sound on words ending in Y. So he said intensity. Intensity, not intensity. So that sound in other words would be like city and pretty. The accent in Liverpool is known as Scouse, owing to a local dish there served to sailors. Now it's an accent that has been heavily influenced by the Irish community that settled in Liverpool in the 19th and 20th century.
Okay. That was quite a video. Yeah, I mean, when he starts talking about diphthongs and dark vowels, I don't know. Can I recognize some of those accents? Probably can. You know, of course, Cockney. I probably will recognize that. I think anything posh I'll be able to recognize, but I don't guess that tells me what region they're from. But overall, I don't think I can pick out the English accent. I probably do a little better between Scottish and Irish and English, at least knowing which ones are English. Might be hard for me to tell the difference between Scottish and Irish. But I assume you can tell your own accents no problem when you hear someone speak. Now, I was interested to see, he said scouse was like a dish served to sailors. I've always heard that accent from Liverpool being called scouse, and I was like, why? I don't understand where that word comes from. So now I guess I know. So you can tell the difference, someone from South Wales versus someone from Liverpool, no problem when you hear it. I probably cannot. But same is true with the United States. It's pretty easy for us to recognize, you know, if somebody's from the South or if somebody's from the East Coast, or somebody's from the Midwest or the Northeast. We can tell when they speak. depending on how thick their accent is. Some people just speak accents like newscasters, and then you can't really tell because it's just like a general accent. But accents are interesting. Love the English accent. Obviously, I think you have a lot of English actors that portray American roles, and they do a good job. Like, you know, I can't tell the difference. They sound American even though I know they're British. I think when it goes the other way, when American actors try to do British accents, it's not good. I mean, some maybe have done a pretty good job, but I think generally, as Brits, you're going to say, yeah, that's not good. Whereas when I hear Brits doing the American accent, I'm like, yeah, that sounds right. So I think it's much harder to do your accent, but appreciate you taking the time to watch and listen while I try to learn more about the UK. If you get a chance, send me a suggestion. Let me know in the comments where you're listening from. And of course, like and subscribe. Till next time, bye.